Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of a unique one to have seen come out of absolutely fucking nowhere. Welcome to Killer is Dead Nightmare Edition for PC, which is kind of very, very weird to see. If you don't know what Killer Dead is, it is developed by Kadokawa Games or Grasshopper Manufacturer and published by Deep Silver. And if you're not familiar, it's obviously, if you don't know him already, and you really should, it's by Suda51. If you have no idea who Suda51 is, I recommend you go look him up because he is the craziest person to when it comes to games like this, because they're just absolutely bonkers. They're just absolutely fucking bonkers in all retrospect. This was kind of unique to see because I saw this pop up for pre-purchase, I think, on Steam a couple of months back, which I was kind of surprised to see this pop up on Steam because I think the console version of this came out back in August of last year. Console version got a bit mixed reviews, definitely very mixed reviews from what I saw, and I was surprised to have seen it come to PC, which is a shocker. Now, this is kind of like, this is going to be one of those games which is going to be incredibly hard to actually do a review for, because if you've seen anything from the console version, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but this is PC, and obviously PC, it's going to be a lot better. And you're probably thinking, how is the PC port? Well, I will show you, because it's not exactly the best, which is to be expected if you're not familiar. When it comes from making PC versions of games over in Asia, it's not exactly, they don't exactly make the best PC versions. You should be accustomed to that right now, but I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. It looks pretty standard options menu. I mean, the good thing is you do have separate audio sliders, which is good, but I just want to briefly go over this. I don't usually talk about the options menu that much, but this is something I really want to talk about. Now, controls options. Now, you can use a mouse and keyboard or gamepad. I am using a gamepad because I love using game controllers for these types of games, a hack and slash character interaction game. There is zero read bindable keys whatsoever. I mean, for gamepad, this is what you got. Memorize that. That's it. You cannot rebind them. And mouse and keyboard, same thing. You cannot rebind them. You have two presets, which the second preset I'm not exactly familiar with. I don't know if that's some foreign keyboard, but I am not exactly familiar with that keyboard. But that's why I'm saying I'm playing this with a controller rather than mouse and keyboard, because these sort of character action games I prefer to play with a controller more than anything else. But I will warn PC elitists to look away right now, because the display options are absolutely terrible. These are your display options. Yeah. This is it. There's no advanced settings, nothing at all. You got three presets. You got low, medium, high. You've got windowed, which I'm not even going to bother with, and you've got VSync, which for some reason I keep turning that off, but it turns itself back on. That is fucking annoying. That's it. That's all you've got for video options. You cannot change anything. Can't change text quality, lighting, shadow, anti-aliasing, nothing like that. It's just, that's it. But you could see it's kind of expected coming from a developer in the Far East. Yeah, you could kind of, it's kind of standard for them over there, but they could have put a little effort in. A little bit of effort. I mean, this game, I've been playing it for a couple of hours since it came out on Friday, I think it did. Friday, yeah. The game runs at, I think it runs at 1080p. It is very hard to tell, because once I show you what the game is like, you will see exactly why I'm saying how hard it is going to be to review this. But unfortunately, this game runs at 30 frames per second. Oh dear. That's not a good sign, is it? No. For these sort of like hack and slash character interaction games, I expect 60. Especially on the PC, but no. DX Story tells me it's 30. I've been playing it for a couple of hours of the past day or two. Yeah, it's running at 30 with the occasional frame rate issue, which is very, very disappointing, but I would have expected better. I mean, like I said, the console version came out in August last year, so it's been quite a while for them to make this PC port. But holy shit, this is... it's not the best, but we'll jump into the game and I'll give you a bit of an explanation of everything else. Now, if you're not familiar with Suda51, he makes the craziest fucking stories in the world that make zero sense. I am not even joking. I already tried looking up on the Wikia page for this to try and understand the story. No explanation at all of what the hell is going on. These sort of games, you will be confused as hell to know what the hell's going on. And as you can see, I've already done a fair amount. There are a decent amount of missions to do, a lot of side missions, which are pretty decent. I think I will stick with some of the side missions and probably replay a few missions. I'll try and avoid the main story one, which is this one. If I run out of side missions, obviously I'll show you. But if there is any spoilers, I will put up a spoiler warning at the beginning, just in case. As you can see, you got a fair amount of missions to do. You got a lot of side missions, which is very nice. The one thing which is debatable, and it's something which I don't know what to say, it's like, you've got side missions in this game. Not like side missions where you go around the level hacking and slashing and all that. No. You have gigolo missions. Now, if you don't know what a gigolo is, I recommend you go look it up, because I'm not going to explain what a fucking gigolo is. You can go look it up yourself. That's one of them. That's a gigolo mission. And they are the most awkwardest thing in the world. They are... I don't quite get the point of them exactly. They just... To be honest, the only reason they're there is for you to get optional sub-weapons. And I will get into that when we get into an actual level, but I might show you a gigolo mission, but it's so awkward to actually play through, and it's just like it's just weird. Like it's so weird. It's just absolutely fucking weird. But we'll jump into a level. We'll find a level. Which one should we jump into? What's this? Sure, we'll do that. Now, I do apologise in advance if the quality of this next part looks a bit shit. I've had to turn down in the story the overall recording quality because the frame rate for this is just going to absolute shit as I'm recording this, so I hope I can fix that. But anyway, I'll show you a bit of the combat. So what you do is, these enemies jump at you and you press, and you've got, I think you could say, two weapons. You've got your katana, which is called a gecko, I think it's called. Then you've got your mechanical right arm, which is used purely for guard breaking, which I will show in a minute. Boom. So what you do is, as you can see, you just go around and just slice the enemies to fucking pieces. And it's like, like the weirdest part is this game just feels so fucking good when it comes to blocking, you jackass. This game feels so good when it comes to combat. I mean, look at that. It's just, it's honestly like, it's so bizarre and so ridiculously bonkers. It's ridiculous. But you've got, as I said, you've got two attacks. You've got your mechanical left arm and you've got your main sword, which you do crazy shit like that with. What I find the most interesting thing about this game is, you see the combo bar at the top right corner of the screen? Well, the interesting thing is what makes this game's combat quite interesting in my opinion, is that when you first start off attacking an enemy, you've noticed that, well, you probably noticed that how slow he was swinging the sword. And now the higher my combo, the faster I'm swinging it. Now the way the game works is like, with the combat is, the higher your combo is and the less, and if you don't get hit, the faster Mondo swings his sword, and he's kind of like, his attack style changes. As you can tell, he's just like, he's flipping all over the place, he's swinging it ridiculously fast, like, as you can tell, like, ah, that feels so good. Now, this game does reward you for being, like, careful in battle. Like, if you block at the right time, it'll give you the option to deflect an enemy, and if you dodge at the correct time, as you probably saw before, you can just slash them to fucking pieces. It's this sort of, like, game which is, like, it's so ridiculously fun that I just like that. You dodge at the right time, you do something like that. And it feels so good, and that's the weirdest thing. It's like, when I first saw this come out back in August, I was originally like, this looks interesting, but I don't know if it's the type of game I play. Now, as you saw there, I got hit, so as you can see, his attack pattern has gone back to the way it was, slow paced and with a fair amount of power. So as you can see, it's like, the higher your combo gets, as you can tell, his attack patterns change. Like, his whole attack style changes completely. Now, at the bottom right corner of the screen, fucking stop guarding, you rat bastard. If you look at the bottom right screen there, you can see I have what appears to be a gun. Well, his left arm can turn into a gun, and 4 other different types of weapons, which you can use in the middle of combat. But to be honest, in this sort of like combat like I'm doing right now, you will never use it. And it's the same with the other 3 sub-weapons, as they're called. You'll never really use them except for ranged enemies who are being a bloody nuisance like him. Oh my god, that feels so good. And you're probably thinking, how do you get the other 3 sub-weapons? Well, that's the interesting thing. The way you get the other 3 sub-weapons is you have to do the Gigolo missions, which I mentioned. Get off, you twat. You have to do the other Gigolo missions. You have to do 3 Gigolo missions, and then you get rewarded with the other sub-weapons. Now, you don't have to do the Gigolo missions. That's the good thing about it, because they are kind of awkward and like basically, it's just more or less you. You dick. Is you basically female character at a bar, right? The most obvious fucking thing in the world, and you basically, as a gigolo, obviously, you have to basically win her over. Obviously, you win her over by giving her things. But before you do that, you have to basically oogle her, which, in other words, basically means you have to basically, when she's not looking, you have to start eyeing her up, looking at her body when she's not looking. Which, fuck, I just love doing that. Which it feels like, I don't know, it feels, it's kind of like awkward to even do, because it's like, I don't really get the point of it. I mean, all you're doing is getting sub-weapons from it. But it's like, other than that, like, there's really no other point to doing them. But as I said, because they feel kind of awkward to do. Ooh, fuck you. They feel so awkward to do that I just don't want to do them. I really don't. It's just like, it's optional, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's not something you have to do, like, it's an optional thing, but it's just, it portrays those specific female characters as just pure objects, that you're only using them, you're only there to basically use them to get what you want, and that sort of like thing is which many people could agree that that's what they're there for, and it's like, I really don't want to go into the topic of that, because that's like one of the worst things I hate talking about. I really hate talking about that sort of objectification of women in video games, blah 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 blah. It's not that I agree with it or I don't agree with it, it's just I hate the fucking subject altogether. But many people could say that, but it's just like, I kind of agree in that aspect, because it's like, what other reason is there for them to be there? There really isn't any other reason other than for you to use them to get a specific weapon. And as I said, it's just like, it feels so awkward to do. Fuck you, asshole. It feels so awkward to do. And I don't, like, this is the thing, right? I don't mind if it's done correctly, like, if it's done appropriately. If it isn't, then I don't agree with it. If it isn't done correctly, I don't agree with it. But other than that, like, I'm just gonna, that's all I'm saying. Like, it's an awkward thing to do, and I wouldn't recommend doing it only if you want the other sub-weapons, but you will hardly ever use the sub-weapons anyway, so fuck off, asshole. You'll hardly ever use the other sub-weapons, so it's relatively pointless to even, like, do them anyway. But let's go off that topic, shall we? And let's just talk about something else that's going on the screen right now. And that is, you're probably wondering about everything else, like, how is the texture quality in this game? I honestly can't tell you, because as you can probably tell, this game is very, very heavily cel-shaded. It is very heavily cel-shaded, which makes it rather hard to talk about, like, texture quality and all that, because it's so heavily cel-shaded. It's like you can't really notice the textures at all, because of, like, it's just all bright colors, all black and everything, and it's just like you don't really notice it. But I will say that it's like, over the past 24 hours I've been playing this, I've been absolutely loving the hell out of it. I mean, look at this right now. Like, all of this I've been doing in the past, God knows how long it's been. Like, if I were to tell you right now, does this look like fun? Now, you're probably thinking this looks like a very easy combat. You could say it is kind of easy, but it requires a lot of focus, and that's my main concern with the game about it being at 30 frames per second. I mean, it is running at 30 frames right now, and it does dip every now and again. Not all the time, but a lot. Not all the time, but it does every now and again, which is rather frustrating to say the least. Especially when, as you've probably seen, like, all this hectic nonsense is going on the screen right now. But but finding out, like, texture quality wise and all that, it's very difficult for me to actually say. I mean, I have noticed occasionally, every now and again, like, the texture quality being a low resolution every now and again, and of course, because there's no actual graphics options in the game whatsoever, there's not really anything you can do, like, about it. You can't edit it or anything like that. It's just all completely preset. It's all been presetly built, which unfortunately, it's like, for a PC game now, most PC gamers, we expect the game to be, like, I would say better than that, you know what I mean? Oh, I just love doing that so much. But we expect our games to be, you know, better than what we expect on console. I mean, why else do you think we would pay, like, hundreds and hundreds of pounds or dollars on expensive, you know, equipment? Why else do you think we'd spend that much money on it? Exactly, because we want the best out of our games that we want to play and, you know, have fun with. And it's up to the developers themselves to actually put that extra effort in to do that, because they're the ones in control of making said game, so they should really be the ones, you know, doing the best they can to make it as good as possible for us. And I mean, the 30 frames per second, fuck, is kind of annoying sometimes, but I think you could get past it, because I've been playing it at 30 frames per second for a while now, and I've managed to put up with it for a fair battle. Yeah, I cannot speak. It's just trying to focus on battling these motherfuckers. I managed to tolerate the 30 frames in this for the past 24 hours, but as I said, like, for us PC gamers, like, we expect more. We expect it to be better. than consoles, you could say. Like, so a lot of PC elitists would say that, like, we expect it to be better than what it is on consoles, and I could agree with that. It's because, like, our hardware is, like, superior compared to consoles, because the consoles are to take on the next gen consoles. Fuck. I have no idea what the fuck I was doing. Let's go back and pick a different mission. I was just too hectic. But if we're gonna pay this amount of money for, like, this sort of hardware to have a better experience when it comes down to video games, we expect the developers to put that extra effort into the video games to make them better. And that's to be expected with, like, every game. So I don't really know, like, the development cycle for this, like, how long it took and all that to port it over. But I would say that, yeah, like, if you're gonna make a PC version of the game, just please put in some effort. Like, we would appreciate it more if you would put in that little bit extra effort. Because as I showed at the beginning of the video, like, the video options and all that, they're not the best. Oh, what's this? Flying coffin. Whatever. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I'll give you time to show the upgrade system as well, because this game does have a level of upgrades into it. Now, the weirdest part about the game is you do not level up. The way the game works is, as you can see, you got health and blood there. You get kind of greenish blue crystals, crystal-like diamonds, and then you get red roses to level up both your health and your blood. And that's how the leveling up system works. So the more you get, the more it levels up. So there's no definitive level per se. As you can see, I've already got it at 48 and 57. But there are other things to collect in the game, which are moon crystals, and moon crystals allows you to buy upgrades. Now, unfortunately, there really isn't that many upgrades, as you can tell. But a lot of them are upgradable again. So it's like, if you upgrade one, there's a chance you can upgrade it a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time. But as you can see, there's about 15. Yeah, about 15 for each specific class. And then there might be additional ones on top of that. But other than that, there's not much else to the upgrades. Which is a bit disappointing, now you could say, but it's just like that. Oh. Okay. What bats? I don't see no bats. Alright, so I gotta keep all 4 of these lit. Fuck off, bats. Go away, bats. You are not needed here. Bugger off. But I mean, for a game like this, like, I am having fun with it. I will say that much. I am having a lot of fun with it. I would have expected more. As I've said, I would have expected more from a PC game. I see you over there, you dicks. I would have expected more. I really would have. Because, like I said, you spend this amount of money for expensive hardware so you can get the best out of your video games. I mean, I myself on my computer, I spent like, I know you're gonna be surprised, but I spent, ooh, headshot. I spent about, how much did I spend? I spent about £1,000 on my PC, and I bought it and I put it together and all that bollocks. So obviously I too, you know, expect the best when it comes to every video game I buy, and I expect the developers to put in that extra effort as well. Oh, hello. Fuck you. So I expect the developers as well to put that little bit extra effort into the PC marketplace, because obviously. But honestly, like, I can't really... The only thing I would disagree about this game is the 30 frames, as I mentioned. The 30 frames could be better. Like, I am sad the fact that this game is running at 30 frames. I would have liked it to have been at 6 then. I would have. I really would have liked it to be 60 frames, because this sort of hack and slash character interaction game requires a lot. Like, it requires a lot of concentration, a lot of timing. Yes, it is sometimes. It requires a lot of concentration, a lot of timing and all that stuff, and at 30 frames per second, it's like, majority of the time, it's just, it can't be done. Like, I've had the frame rate dip down every now and again to about 20 or less, but I'm used to it. But the other problem I would say is that so far, from what I've seen, is like in the past 48 hours that this game's been out, many people have been having problems with it. There have been a fair amount of bugs that's causing people to be unable to play the game at all. Like, the game just flat out doesn't work. Also times where the game crashes at like, I can't fucking see anything, where the game crashes at like chapter 2, and it's these sort of bugs which are affecting people, and obviously people are being unable to play it. Die, you motherfucker. So yeah, so there are bugs and problems so far that people are unable to it's just boom chakalaka. But yeah, there are problems so far at the moment which are causing people to be unable to play the game, where it's just flat out doesn't work, where it crashes at chapter 2. So I would like for you to bear that in mind. That is a problem at the moment. Oh my god, see, this is what I was talking about the cell shading. I mean, look, it's just, I had the brightness turned up like quite far, and it's just like, look at that, it's like, it's so dark. But there have been problems, as I said, bugs and all that, so I want you to bear that in mind, that it might or might not work for you. There's a 50-50% chance that it might or might not work. If you are interested in getting it though, and you want to get it for PC, there are two options. You can either buy it now and fucking cross your fingers that it works, or you can wait for it to come out, for a few patches to come out first, boop, and then get it to see if those patches have actually fixed all the problems. Or the last alternative is get it on console. Like, that's the only alternative, is get it on the console, because it's been out on console now since its release date, which was August, sometime August 21st, I think. I don't know. But I would suggest, if you want to get it but you don't want to deal with the PC issues or anything like that, you can just get it on console, because it's been available on console now for quite a while. And it'll probably be cheaper, because it's about £20? £20 on Steam right now, so $19.99 on Steam right now. I don't know how much that is in American money or euros, but I can't fucking see a thing. But yeah, so you can either get it on console, wait for patches and updates on PC, or get it on console. But I would recommend, like, if you really want to get it and this sort of thing just looks interesting to you, bear in mind though that if you were hoping to have a game in which you could understand the story really easily and all that, you're fresh out of luck, because it's by Suda51. And Suda51's stories are just bizarre as fuck. Like, when I say that, like, they literally are. Like, it takes a lot to understand, like, what goes through the mind of that man. Like, it really does. Fuck you! That's another move you can do. Hold right trigger, press X, and then you can slice them sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of the time. Evil Eyeball uses self-destruct. Holy shit. How will I catch him now? But yeah, but if you're hoping for a game in which you could understand the story easily and all that, you're fresh out of luck, because this is Suda51 we're talking about. And he doesn't make the simplest of things. Now, as you saw there where it said blood level up, that's what I was talking about by leveling up. It takes a fair amount to do that. But if you're hoping to have like an easy experience with like the story and all that, you're gonna have a very hard time, because it's Suda51. Like, nobody knows what goes through the mind of that man. But it's kind of a two-mind frame. You can get it on PC now and have cross your fingers hoping that it'll work, or you can just wait for patches and updates for that to get fixed, or you can just get it on console. Like, it's probably cheaper than it is on PC now, because it's like £20 on PC on Steam. But with the PC version, you do get the Nightmare Edition, which I think comes with a new difficulty, a few new missions, and just some ulterior bullshit. And I'm not even going to bother showing you the Gigolo missions. Just, if you want to know about the Gigolo missions, just search it up on YouTube yourself, because it's just like, I can't put myself through that, and I don't want to put all of you through that. I really, really don't. It's like, it's the most awkwardest thing to do, and it's like, there's really no point to it whatsoever. But what would I say? Final conclusion on this. I would say it runs at 1080p. I think it does. It's very hard to tell with the cell shading. It runs at 30 frames per second. Ooh, bad. I would much prefer 60, but it runs at 30. It's a very unique game. I mean, the characters themselves are unique themselves. Like, the main character himself, like, I have no idea who he is or what he is. I already seen this game already, like, played through to completion, and I have no fucking clue what he is or who he is. But that at the same time has got me intrigued in wanting to know more. So that's, you could say, kind of a good thing. But if you take into consideration everything about, like, the graphics options and the frame rate, would it be something that you would be more than happy to spend time with? Plus all the bugs that are with it at the moment that are stopping people from playing it. Would you want to put money down on this on PC? And as I showed you, I cannot fucking speak, there's no rebindable keys. You can either play with a mouse or keyboard or a controller, which I would recommend a controller. I would definitely recommend, because it is at 30 frames and it never goes any higher. Oh, and to point out as well, there's no field of view for a third-person game, even though it would be nice, there really isn't. But I haven't experienced any kind of head problems or eye aches or anything like that, so it should be fine. But my conclusion on it would be, like the combat itself, I find relatively enjoyable, just on the fact that the higher your combo meter goes, that Mondo's attack style completely changes from when he started. And I find that kind of interesting to play, because it mixes things up. But the enemy variety as well is quite nice, because they don't just throw the same exact enemy at you like during the actual main campaign missions. They throw a unique variety at you every now and again. Length as well. I really don't know how long it is. I'm guessing it's about... I've been playing it for about 4 hours, and I guess I'm kind of halfway through it, so I'm guessing it'll take about 6 hours, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't finished this yet. I think I'm about halfway through. I think I'll go for that, buy that, just for sheer hell of it. But yeah, I consider it to be a good game. It's not great, or it's not fantastic. The texture quality is hard to tell, but the interesting style that they went for with the cell shading, I mean, as you can see, is very unique and interesting, and not that many games go for that, like, really, really strong cell shaded feel to it. But I'd recommend you can either get the PC version, wait for updates, or you can just flat out get it on console, because it just feels like a console port. Like, doesn't feel like a PC version of it. It feels like a console port. I mean, it is running at 1080p, but it's running at 30 frames, and it just seems like all the graphics options and all that, just there's nothing there. Like, there's literally nothing there. It just feels like a bare bone console port. And obviously with all the bugs and the problems that it's having, with people being flat out unable to play it. I mean, I'm lucky enough I managed to actually get it working. I'm having zero problems with it. I've had no crashes, no bugs or anything like that. But it's up to you. I mean, you can take your chances with it, or you can just go get it on console, because you'll probably just get the exact same experience as you would on PC. So my conclusion would be it's decent. Like, it's a decent game. The combat is actually very fun, and I just fucking enjoy it. I mean, as you saw earlier, I fucking loved it. It's just intense and fast-paced. The story is balls to the walls fucking insane and makes no sense. You have to be in the same mind frame as Suda51 to understand what the hell's going on. But I would say it's decent. If you think it looks good, then you can either pick it up on PC or console, but there's really no difference whatsoever between both versions of the game. And to play it safe, I would much rather get it on the console because of all the problems it's having right now. The only thing you're getting for about £20 is you're getting the game, plus a new difficulty, plus maybe 1 or 2 new missions, and some other random crap, which I have no interest in using. But that's about it. I would just stick with the console version because you're getting the exact same, and probably the console version is just cheaper in price anyway. But either way, that's been a look at Killer is Dead Nightmare Edition. Unique, I would say the least. Batshit crazy, yes, I would definitely say that. But decent to say the least. Thank you very much for watching. Ta-da.